The Chronicles of Dr. Jack Daniels. No, it's not the title of the latest Disney film or Ken Burns documentary, although you can imagine this ongoing epic fitting the bill. An early interest in competitive fitness spurred a lifetime of education, research, innovation, and unparalleled coaching successes for Dr. Jack Daniels. Still teaching his groundbreaking training advancements deep into his 80s, Daniels continues to leave an indelible impact on the sports of track and field and cross country. As an Army veteran and a savvy student of physiology, Daniels excelled as an athlete in the Olympic modern pentathlon, the ultimate fitness and field test for a soldier. He won 2 medals in the team event, silver in 1956 and bronze in 1960. Throughout the 60s, Daniels pursued more education, all while testing and mentoring Olympic athletes bound for Tokyo in 1964 and high-altitude Mexico City in 1968. He earned his Master's of Education from Oklahoma while coaching at Oklahoma City University. Following a 1-year stint as the head coach of the Peruvian national team, Daniels completed his PhD thesis in exercise and altitude at Wisconsin. In 1969, he was hired as the first head coach of women's track and field at the University of Texas. He also served as an assistant of the men's program. He held both positions until 1980. Later in the 80s, Daniels found his way to the State University of New York in Cortland. Over an 18-year period as head coach of the men's and women's programs, it was there where he built a dynasty. From 1986 to 2004, the Red Dragons won 8 NCAA Division III national titles. They finished national runner-up 4 other times and amassed 31 individual national titles to go with more than 120 All-America honors. His women's cross-country squad won an all-time leading 7 D3 crowns over a 10-year period, including 4 in a row from 1992 to 1995. All the while, his research and development continued. While at Oklahoma City University, Daniels coached Jimmy Gilbert, who went on to work at NASA for 35 years as a mathematician. Together, the duo innovated the algorithms for VDOT scoring, a method for comparing running performances based on oxygen consumption. Having the objective data in hand, Daniels built revolutionary training systems and introduced to the world via his book, The Daniels Running Formula, and the development techniques contained within were soon adapted by coaches at all levels. Runner's World magazine named Daniels the world's best running coach and the Albert Einstein of running. Daniels also spent time as the head distance coach at the U.S. Center for High Altitude Training in Flagstaff, Arizona, where he mentored countless more Olympians. For the decades of Olympiads to come, there's no doubt that Daniels' timeless impact will continue. So raise your glass to Dr. Jack Daniels, now a member of the USTFCCCA Coaches Hall of Fame, Class of 2019.
Coach Daniels, what an innovator. Yes, totally awesome seeing all that. Here we go.
I'd like to mention something first that was brought up here. They mentioned Jimmy Gilbert. Jimmy Gilbert ran for me in the 1960s and then worked for NASA and helped me develop our VDOT programs. But an interesting thing about Jimmy is that he called me a couple of years ago to say he had just finished running his 100,000th mile. He averaged 38.6 miles a week for 50 years. And he's still running to this day. I certainly feel honored for being inducted into this Hall of Fame, and I want to mention a few factors that have led to my success as a coach. My personal Olympic sport was modern pentathlon, which includes cross-country horseback riding with about 25 obstacles to take on, fencing, pistol shooting, swimming, and running. One year of the top 60 pentathletes in the world, I was ranked first in riding, third in swimming, 8th in shooting, 11th in fencing, and a relatively weak 24th in running. So that's why I became a running coach. So I spent years researching running in hopes of improving that event. First, I must mention something that Larry Snyder told me. If you don't know Larry, he coached at Ohio State many years ago, and he and I coached the Peruvian national team together. He told me when we were in Peru, he said, "Coaches don't make athletes great, athletes make coaches great." Easy for Larry to say, since the first year he coached at Ohio State, he had a freshman named Jesse Owens on his team. Who made who great? As for my athletic and coaching success, there have been many people who helped me. Many family people in particular. My parents were very supportive, and my older brother Danny taught me how to shoot a gun, how to hunt and fish, to love the outdoors, and to be a smoke jumper for the U.S. Forest Service. Danny also had two outstanding boys, and one is with us here tonight, Tupper, who's a jet fighter pilot instructor, and just this year advanced to rank of general in the Air Force. Tupper's over here at my table. Brother Kent, also here, when he was in high school in Montana, was the state Montana heavyweight wrestling champion, undefeated his senior year. And after school years, he became Montana State trap shooting champion. These guys can shoot better than I could, and that's my Olympic sport. And even though I managed to win 2 medals in 2 Olympics, my brother Jerry easily outdid me during his years working for the CIA in Laos, working with the Hmong. And he earned 3 of the top 4 CIA medals given for service and honor. During my years of coaching at SUNY Cortland, I managed to coach 30 individual national champions, 130 All-Americans, and my daughter Audra, who's here, just used to come out and cheer on the team. We used to carry her around in a Nike bag to the cross-country meets. And she herself ran a marathon, did a triathlon, and the annual 100-mile bike ride in South Lake Tahoe. And I'll guarantee you there's no way I could ever do a 100-mile bike ride, no matter how good a shape I was in. And our other daughter, Sarah, who's here, was an outstanding soccer player and fast runner. And when we were in Flagstaff, she became very good friends with a couple of 2-time Olympians, Anthony Familetti and Abdi Abdurrahman. I'm sure many of you know these 2 guys, both of whom appreciated Sarah's singing ability. Sarah sang the Lord's Prayer at Fam's funeral one year for Fam, and often saw Abdi at her shows. He always said he was going to come and wear something weird so she'd laugh during the show, and he would never do that. These 2 guys are 2 of the greatest athletes we've ever had in this country. Sarah now sings opera in New York City. I want to express special thanks to the 26 elite distance runners, 9 of whom made United States Olympic teams, including Bob Schul, Jim Ryan, and George Young, gold, silver, and bronze medalists. I first tested those 26 guys in 1968. The same 26 returned to my lab for testing in 1993 for a 25-year follow-up study. And the remaining 22 of that original group came back for a 45-year follow-up study in 2013. These guys, you can't help but learn something from a bunch of runners like that you're around. Unbelievable group. As great has been the support from other coaches, elite runners, and family members, the most support I've ever had has been from my wife, Nancy, who's also with us, who herself was an outstanding runner. 7 New England championships when she was at the University of New Hampshire. And believe it or not, she qualified for the U.S. Olympic trials in the 1500 and the marathon. And that's a fair variety of events. She was officially my assistant coach for 25 years, including all the years at Cortland when our teams were so successful. Nancy's strengths as a coach are in the area of emotional and motivational factors, quite different from my more physiological approach, but that's a perfect combination for coaching attributes. No doubt these two people, or these two approaches, provide desirable information for runners being coached. I again want to thank everyone who has been supportive of my research and coaching endeavors, and I'm certainly honored to be with all of you during this event tonight. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jack. Let's get a picture here. Remember, it's two pieces. Okay. Yes.